It was a baby! She smothered her own baby!
I have you beat, you morons!
This is the bad place.
There's nothing like a twist that makes you question everything you've known in life. On that note, these are the top 25 most shocking plot twists in TV shows.
I trusted him with you.
I don't understand.
In Lorca, you saw a father until you grew up, and it became more.
You're saying Lorca and I?
He groomed you.
Let's begin with a popular franchise that some people confuse with Star Wars. Yes, I'm aware that Star Trek is quite different as a story, and in Discovery, fans got the shock of their lives when Captain Gabriel Lorca's true identity was revealed. It happens when the Discovery is trapped in the mirror universe. Michael realizes that Lorca's strange sensitivity to light is suspiciously similar to the residents of the mirror universe. That moment really had fans going crazy all over the world.
I need you to live, or I'm as good as dead. You're right.
He needed me to get to you.
Like, I managed to figure out the Ash Tyler twist a little ahead of time, but this one completely caught me off guard and I loved it. Also, I guess it now makes sense as to why Lorca has such an odd obsession with Michael. You know, Star Trek isn't exactly known for serialized methods of telling stories, but when they do manage to get it right, we get pleasantly surprised with scenes like this one, if only they could maintain the same quality throughout.
None of this was an accident. My so-called captain's not from my universe. He's from yours.
Her name was Ava. But you know how it is. Somebody better came along.
All of this is for us, so let me handle it.
What is outside of Westview?
You don't want to know, I promise you.
You don't get to make that choice for me, Wanda!
You've never talked to me like this before.
Before what? I can't remember my life before Westview. I don't know who I am. I'm scared.
Ah yes, it's time to put a twist on Wanda's whole personality. Rather than Agatha, we should have been saying it was Wanda all along, because what the heck was that reveal? We were all so happy at first thinking that Wanda and Vision are living a nice little family life in an older generation, and even when we realised that the town was under some kind of odd spell, we thought that maybe Wanda was being controlled by somebody, but then we learned that she did everything herself. Now, it's pretty much revealed by episode 8 that this town is her doing, and everyone living in it is like her mind slave. But the moment we're shown the hex that she had created, everything changed. Once again, I do sympathise with her for dealing with the loss of her 3-year-old android lover, but that's no excuse to enslave a whole freaking community of people to act out your fantasy life.
I've kept you safe in here. You feel at peace.
We feel your pain. Your grief is poisoning us.
I don't get out. I leave $5 billion on the table.
Come on, Dad. What are you going to do with the $5 billion? Put it on your pile with all your other bill?
Probably, yeah.
And what are we supposed to do?
Make your own pile. And this is an opportunity for you kids to get an education in real life.
Ah yes, now here's a show that needs to appear more often on the TV region. Succession is a great example of how to portray billionaire families with the right kind of comedy, but it also has insane betrayals like when we find out that Tom is the culprit behind Logan retaining his share of the company thanks to some divorce agreements.
Your mother and I have been reviewing the terms of the divorce agreement.
Mom, you
And we've agreed that the arrangements were a little antiquated.
Mom, you just slit our throats.
First of all, I just want to praise Brian Cox for putting in such a spectacular performance as Logan, because that kind of acting is hard to come by in the world of television. Calling his own kids pedestrians was a flex I never knew I needed to see. But of course, the main moment comes when he happily greets Tom, which was more than enough to tell Shiv and all of us that the dude who was mocked all this time was the man behind Succession's most shocking betrayal. The scene is shot well, placing Tom as the main villain, even though he's otherwise known to be so nonchalant. But hey, that still ain't gonna stop me from wanting to be in a billionaire family.
I have you beat, you morons!
Well, no, because you need a supermajority in the only
because I need a supermajority in the
I win. Oh, go on, you nosy pedestrians.
Little baby.
Well, that's a new one.
She's gone now, right?
In at number 22 is a pretty messed up yet crucial plot twist. The Haunting of Hill House was a nice modern showcase of horror, and the most important thing it taught us was that we should never trust anyone, not even ourselves. We already knew that Nell was a ghost, but there was still more to be learnt about her story. There are some disturbing themes in place, but what made for an amazing twist was when we found out that the bent neck lady tormenting Nell was none other than Nell herself.
Huh?
Yeah, not a lot of people saw this coming, but the reveal put a lot of things into perspective when it came to the show's underlying themes. We do feel sorry for Nell and all the trauma she had to go through, but to find out that she herself was the cause of all this pain only made us feel worse. And that's the kind of stuff that makes a horror story so much more compelling. Man, ever since I saw this, I could totally empathize with Dokes and his suspicions around Dexter.
Keep that damn chicken quiet!
Then what happened?
Then I went back toward the front of the bus.
What happened next?
There's something wrong with it. It stopped making noise. It just stopped. She killed it.
Jesus Christ, this one's insane. MASH is an iconic show with an extremely long run, but apart from some great comedic moments, it also gave us one of the saddest moments in TV history, that too in its final episode. It's when Hawkeye is being treated for a mental breakdown and he has to revisit the moment that made it happen. What he initially thought of as a chicken actually turned out to be an infant baby, and I can't even bring myself to say what the mother was forced to do to the child on Hawkeye's annoyed orders.
She killed the chicken.
Oh my God! Oh my God! I didn't mean for her to kill it! I just wanted it to be quiet!
Man, this had everyone losing their minds back in 1983 because such a dark twist was super rare back then, especially on TV. You could even call it revolutionary, but it also scarred lots of people, even more than Hawkeye. If you ask me, this was probably the only way the show could have ended. Hawkeye was the only one who kept his sense of humor the whole time, and the horrors of war finally broke him here, so everyone ended up permanently changed.
It was a baby! She smothered her own baby!
You son of a... Why did you make me remember that?
You had to get it out in the open.
Barbie, be patient. One day we'll share a cold one.
Look who made it to the list. I mentioned Dokes earlier, so now we've got an entry from Dexter which proves that the whole murder fascination runs in the family. At least our boy Dexter tries to keep it to the bad guys, but the same can't be said about his brother Brian, who turns out to be the freaking ice truck killer. Yeah, so there was essentially two reveals that shook us to our cores. The first one was when we figured out that Deb's new lover boy Rudy was the main villain.
She's my fake sister, I know. Who am I?
A killer without reason or regret.
However, what made it worse was when Dexter recalled that Rudy's actually Brian, his freaking brother. Yep, it's like the writers were thinking, okay, this show's messed up beyond any normal standard already, so how do we make it even more messier?
Pliny.
You always had trouble saying Brian.
I have a brother.
A real brother. None of this foster bullshit. We're blood brothers, through birth and death.
The culmination of everything in the final episode swept audiences away, and it's probably the main reason why Dexter is such an amazing show, apart from the memes.
You can't be a killer and a hero. It doesn't work that way!
I was scared once too. I know what it's like to be different.
Here's a stranger version of Little Red Riding Hood. The main difference is that instead of a wolf, you've got to say hello to the big bad Vecna. 11 facing off against Henry was the typical kind of final battle you'd expect in a big budget production like Stranger Things. There were a couple of reveals that made the first part's finale so much more entertaining. Of course, the first one was us finally learning what happened in the Hawkins lab massacre, but that was more like a prelude to the main event. The fact that 11 was the one who opened up the gate to the Upside Down was something most of us had assumed, but to learn that Henry was sent there after losing to her and then becoming Vecna was a whole other plot twist. Sure, there may have been some geniuses who could have figured it out before, but still, I'd say watching this unfold in front of me had me going crazy.
So now how come you don't have to get all dressed up?
I am dressed up. Do you see any holes in these pants? No. I'm glad you made it. Listen, there's one more thing you have to do for me.
You can't keep me from getting drunk.
Would you have expected to see a sitcom like Scrubs on this list? Well, me neither, but it's got a very shocking reveal that needs to be mentioned. Dr. Cox was dealing with the loss of Ben by just manifesting him almost like an annoying ghost gave us some insight on how certain people cope with trauma. The whole time we've been looking at Ben in this frivolous, careless dude who doesn't care about his health, but it was all just an illusion created by Cox in order to accept the demise of a dear friend.
You have to forgive yourself for everything that went down the other day.
You're so annoying. Where's your camera? Aren't you gonna take some pictures? Pictures of what? Where do you think we are?
It just happened so suddenly that even we as the audience didn't know how we should react. It is quite emotional, and I quite liked how JD approached Cox here, considering he daydreams a lot, meaning he must have been able to somewhat understand his situation. This episode was written quite well, and I'd say it's the best of the whole lot, which is high praise for a show as successful as Scrubs.
But in the end, the most important thing to accept is that no matter how alone you feel, how painful it may be, with the help of those around you, you'll get through this too.
Holy motherforking shirt balls. Wow. Chidi and I are gonna go to the bad place.
What?
Trust me, I got this.
In at number 17 is one of the greatest twists in modern television. Contrary to the name of the show, Eleanor has no other choice but to think this ain't good when she realizes that they're most definitely not where they are led to believe. It's the typical heaven and hell kind of situation, but with the main characters figuring out that she's actually in the bad place, not the good place.
And then it hit me. They're never gonna call a train to take us to the bad place. This is the bad place.
It's the kind of twist that makes you question every single thing you've seen in the show so far, because now you're using a different kind of analytical eye. This twist comes in the series finale, so the audience has to revisit all the other episodes to look at hints pointing towards the reality of their bad place. It's quite a refreshing story, which is probably why the show did so well.
Oh, man. You ruined everything. This is paradise.
Oh, it looks like paradise, but it's actually a dumpster full of our worst anxieties.
Darkwing, why did you call us here?
Me?
So none of us signaled the alert. Oh God, what's going on?
What? Omni-Man?
Okay, it's time for some more trauma. If you haven't read the Invincible comics, then this scene would have definitely shocked you with the revelation that Omni-Man wasn't the kind of hero we'd expected him to be. Everything was cool right until the end of the episode when Omni-Man takes out all the Guardians with absolute rage. There are some extremely gory moments, and I personally found a couple of them excruciating to watch, especially Red Rush's death. The others must have felt that he went instantly, but to Red Rush himself, that may have been one of the worst possible ways to go. It sets up the rest of the season perfectly. But even though Omni-Man ends all of his opponents, credit still needs to be given. The fact that the Guardians were able to give him such a tough fight while a $400 billion space laser could only give him a nosebleed shows just how strong the Guardians actually were and why Omni-Man needed to eliminate them for his plan.
Look at me. I'm gonna ask you once, okay? No matter what's happened, no matter what you've done or you haven't done, I want you to tell me the truth. Did you do it? No. Promise. Promise.
Okay, it's time to look at the freshest entry on today's list. I know a lot of people have issues with this show because of how it swaps characters just to cater to some agendas, but I suppose that also plays into the theme of the show, which is that looks can be very deceiving. I watched Adolescence with a completely neutral viewpoint, so if we ignore what happened in real life, then we can say it was a good show. The real shocker came when Jamie and his dad were shown the clip, which proved for sure that Jamie was the killer. Man, even I'd believe Jamie at first because he was so freaking convincing, and right after that I had to remind myself that I shouldn't be trusting anyone at all.
That's enough, okay? How did you get home without anyone seeing you, Jamie? We didn't see when it happened, but we know it happened. There will be blood on those trainers, Jamie. And with this tape as evidence, do you want to give us a reason why?
You can't hide who you really are forever.
How? Howard? Howard, you need to leave.
Who are you? Me? Nobody.
It's time for our fan favourites to start showing up now. Now, the name of this episode may have suggested otherwise, but we can safely say that Howard's assassination wasn't planned and executed. You could say that it was an impulsive decision from Lalo, because of course, it had crazy impact. I mean, the whole vibe completely changed the moment he entered the scene, because up until then, it was just Howard being badass even when the chips were down.
You're perfect for each other. I thought you did it for the money, but now it's so clear. Screw the money. You did it for fun. Two sociopaths.
All right, that's enough.
Oh, you know it's true. You just have the guts to admit it.
Like, even after being humiliated and having his reputation ruined, Howard still handled it like a boss, but then he got shot down like a casual obstacle. Yes, Lalo had pretty much decided to end him by this time, but I'm very sure he only made this choice after listening to Howard speak for as long as he did.
There's really no need to...
Oh my God! No! Oh my God! No!
Okay, let's talk. Have you thought about what we discussed?
I think you're right. We should start with a clean slate.
What about our text messages? Are we good?
Yeah.
In at number 13 is a show that could have achieved legendary status had it not been for its lead actor. Yeah, that may be a surprising reason, but it's not as surprising as the sudden train Zoe had to catch. Everybody was taken aback by this because we all thought that Zoe was going to have that epic fight against Francis. However, the man clearly didn't have the time or patience to deal with nosy reporters, so we figured the best way out would be for him to end her life in the very first episode of season 2. I'll admit that Zoe is no angel herself, and she'd crossed some serious ethical lines, but she should have known better than to deal with someone as cunning and conniving as Mr. Underwood.
I want to believe you, Francis.
Merver Edlund? What the hell is going on here? What is this place?
It's a bar.
We were besties, you know.
Well, I wouldn't exactly say.
This is some kind of punishment, isn't it?
Let's greet the Lord now, shall we? I'm not joking, at least if you believe in Supernatural's world history, because here's God for you. And to think it would have been a guy named Chuck. That was definitely some kind of inside joke if you ask me. Metatron was pretty taken aback when the divine light was turned on. And even though there were some fan forums that discussed this possibility, most of us were just as shocked as Sam and Dean were when they found out that Chuck was actually God himself. It's quite ridiculous for sure, but this show ran for 15 whole seasons, so I'm certain there were lots of people out there who have followed its lore. Also, can we talk about how Chuck has a cup that says "World's Best Dad"? I mean, that's a brilliant piece of writing.
All the kneeling and stuff, it's always made me deeply, deeply uncomfortable. Just don't use the G word, okay? Just call me Chuck.
당신이 안 치십니까? 자네라면 어쩌겠? 대답해! 왜 그런 짓을 했어? 너 누구야?
Here's another recent show with a rather absurd twist. Gihan's face was definitely a memorable one after he learned that the master of the Squid Game was a participant. Oh Il Nam had us all feeling sad for his supposed death in episode 6, but all of that changed when we found out that he was the reason for this game happening in the first place.
자네가 손님들을 맡아주게.
왜 그러시는지 여쭤봐도 되겠습니까?
보는 것이 하는 것보다 더 재미있을 수가 없지.
Some people didn't like this twist, but I found it insane because it makes the audience feel like fools for getting so emotional over his fake death. I gotta give it to Gihan for being able to control his rage, because I'm not sure I would have been as calm as that after learning I got played this badly by a dude who's literally in his deathbed.
헛소리 하지 마. 당장 죽여버릴 수도 있어. 그럼 자네는 영영 대답을 못 들을 텐데. 아직도 사람을 믿나? 그 일을 겪고도 성금은 손도 대지 않고. 죄책감? 그건 당신이 할 소리가 아닌 것 같은데.
I come before you to confess my treason in the sight of gods and men. I betrayed the faith of my king and the trust of my friend Robert.
But before his blood was cold, I plotted to murder his son and seize the throne for myself.
It's top 10 time, so let's bring out the big guns. Nothing could have prepared me for this shocker of a moment other than the knowledge that Sean Bean always dies, no matter what his role may be. Ned Stark was my favourite character in the first season of Game of Thrones, and I genuinely thought he was going to overthrow the Lannisters to become the one to sit on the Iron Throne.
Stripped of all titles and powers, he would serve the realm in permanent exile, and my lady Sansa has begged mercy for her father. But they have the soft hearts of women. Bring me his head.
Well, I guess I was terribly wrong about that one, eh? When the execution scene was happening, I kept thinking to myself, okay, who's going to show up to save him now? But then they actually decapitated him, and I had no idea how to react.
Don't you understand? There's no one coming for you.
William will find me.
William?
William may not have been shown as a Giga Chad, but to learn that he was the real Man in Black was quite the shocker. Westworld was a show with immense promise, especially with Christopher Nolan's brother Jonathan being a co-creator. However, after the brilliance of season 1, the series developed into an unnecessarily complex story, so I'll just stick to the surprising nature of William's reveal.
Jesus Christ!
It actually does make sense considering how he had this romantic energy with the entirety of Westworld, not just Dolores. Also, the switch to the Black Cat was a neat little touch. Man, they shouldn't have messed up this show. It could have easily become an all-timer.
You helped me find my... In a way, I guess...
We've all lost. We've all suffered. And the truth is, I questioned whether this day would ever come. But today, our journey is at an end.
You know the feeling of that pain when you put in all of that effort for nothing? Yeah, that's pretty much what the crew felt here when they finally found Earth in Battlestar Galactica. Like, they spent more than 60 episodes in the quest for a habitable planet, but when they finally do find said planet, it turns out to be nothing more than a barren wasteland. It was so demotivating, not just for the characters, but for the audience as well. You could even say that this plot twist somewhat mirrors the twist we got at the end of 2001's Planet of the Apes. It's such a devastating moment, and Adomar's anger here is very much understandable.
Golden pass that they gave us. I've been using it every Friday night. Crash, Kate. Anybody else on board?
There's not much that a show can do to get the interest back from its audience, but Lost sure knew how to do it with an insane plot twist. Yes, the series is known for shocking its fans again and again, but seeing Jack say the iconic "we have to go back" line will never get old in my eyes.
No, I'm sick of lying. We're not supposed to leave.
Yes, we were.
To realise that this wasn't a flashback, but rather a flash forward completely blew my mind and gave the viewers so much hope regarding being able to exit the island. It's truly iconic stuff, as both Jack and Kate figured it was their destiny to take the show at least to the 6th season.
We have to go back!
How are we going to do this without the girl?
Bauer has no choice but to trust us.
Да. А что зовете?
Palmer nije mrtav. Bila je zavara da poverujete.
This was a legit goated way to set up the main character, or at least a recurring villain. Nina's reveal wasn't the typical kind because she isn't outed in a traditional sense. What made this so good was that the writers highlighted her as a suspect early on and then quickly ruled her out, making us completely trust her.
And patch me through to him. Mason, what is it?
Proof against Nina. She killed Jamie Farrell.
What? Why? Can you see it? This is unbelievable.
Because that's usually how stories play out. But then we learn it was actually her, and nothing was the same after that. Yes, it's the typical case of a good cop turning out to be a malicious psychopath, but the way she was exposed turned 24 into a legendary show.
You think I work for Jason, but I don't. Just doing my job.
Good job. My wife and daughter almost died today. Walsh, Jamie Ellis, how many others?
So many people died because of you, Jack.
Jack, take it easy. We need her alive.
We got a problem. One of them isn't. Jack isn't in the manifest. He wasn't on the plane.
Here's Lost again with a twist in the very first season that took us all by surprise. Hurley finding out that there's an imposter among them was a genuine moment that had all the fans panicking. Ethan wasn't on the plane with the squad, but he's actually a stranger who was already on the island and infiltrated the group. This blew up the premise of the show with all kinds of fan theories coming out, which is exactly what you want to see as a creator. Man, I wish I could see this moment for the first time again because that feeling is truly unique.
Hello there.
Ethan, where's Jack?
You tell me what it is you think I did.
Brock, why did you poison him?
Who's Brock?
You saw him in my living room just last night. You came to my door and you looked right at him. So don't tell me you don't know it.
Okay, that's Brock.
He's dying because someone gave it to him.
I think it's fair to say that Heisenberg messed up big time here. Walter White is the driving force of Breaking Bad, but he's not an ideal role model to follow. Poisoning Brock was a proper villain move, and Jesse was right to suspect Walt, but our man managed to manipulate him into working against Gus, using Brock as the motivation.
I've been waiting all day, waiting for Gus to send one of his men to kill me. And it's you. Who do you know? Who's okay with using children? Jesse, who do you know? Who's allowed children to be murdered? Gus!
I mean, even when we were fooled for the longest time, until the camera slowly zoomed in on the Lily of the Valley planet in Walt's backyard, proving that he'd indeed poisoned Brock as part of his plan. Yeah, it was from this moment onwards that we figured Walter White needed to be stopped.
Do you know about this? Walt, I need you to...
It's over. We're safe.
Was this you? What happened?
I won.
What did you do, Kenny? You've been looking at kids. There's a video of you. Kids, Kenny!
Yikes, this one isn't going to be pleasant to talk about. Who would have thought that by the end of this episode, Kenny was actually a Drake fan all along? We sympathize with the character, thinking he was just a victim of online bullying and harassment, but when we find out what kinds of PDF files he was looking at, there's no emotion left for him other than disgust. I mean, I felt terrible for even siding with Kenny even after learning what the massive twist was. It's the kind of stuff that really makes you wonder what kinds of brains are behind shows like Black Mirror.
My king has married, and I owe my new queen a wedding gift.
I think it's safe to say that the worst colour for a wedding is red. I know I already mentioned the Ned Stark entry, but even that couldn't have prepared me for what we saw here. Yeah, we did understand that Game of Thrones doesn't shy away from killing its main characters, but we were tricked into believing that Robb Stark was going to become the real hero. All of that changed in this sequence that horrified us just as much as it surprised us. We lost Caitlin as well, so it had a much larger impact than Ned because there were two leads who looked like they were going to change everything. Yeah, it's quite hard to find something that comes as close to Game of Thrones during its peak era.
Mother, the Lannisters send their regards.
Dies ist meine Wahrheit. Am 4. November 2019 bin ich durch die Zeit ins Jahr 1986 gereist. Der Junge aus der Zukunft blieb und wurde mit der Zeit ein Mann.
There have been some iconic twists in this video, but not many come close to this one from Dark. It's the kind of stuff that gets you hooked onto the storyline like crazy, and that's exactly what happened with me as well. The reveal that Michael and Mikkel were the same person completely blew everyone's minds, because this opened up so many possibilities regarding the identities of the characters from Dark.
Aus Mikkel wurde Michael, der niemals wusste, wohin er gehört. Wenn du dies liest, bin ich bereits gegangen.
Honestly, keeping a track of family trees in this show isn't for the faint-hearted, and this reveal only began what would become a highly complex yet interesting storyline. Anyway, this twist somewhat prepared us for any other shocking reveals in the show, although I can't say some of the later ones didn't surprise me at all.
Micke? Sowohl als Junge als auch als Mann. Alles ist miteinander verbunden. Micke, Michael.
Hope you liked the video. Please subscribe to the TV Regent, and here's another video I know you're going to enjoy.